Almost everyone is convinced that freedom is all about having money. It's all about being able to travel. It's all about being able to quit your job and doing whatever the heck you want. And they're not completely wrong about that. But the strongest prison that you could ever put yourself into isn't a prison full of bars. It doesn't need a security team. It doesn't need walls, okay? They don't need locks or chains. And that is because the prisoner themselves doesn't even think of themselves as a prisoner. They think that they are free. And that is the strongest prison for a person. Because the prison where the inmate, delete it. A prison where the inmate defends the wall, where they mistake conditioning for personality, fear for wisdom, and obedience for morality, and a routine for purpose. The tragedy isn't even that people are trapped in these prisons, no. The tragedy is that almost everyone doesn't even know that they are a prisoner. And by the time that you finish this video, you might start noticing the bars that you yourself placed around you. And when that happens, you cannot unsee it. When you were born, you knew absolutely nothing of this world, okay? You didn't know what success is, okay? You don't know what embarrassment is. You don't know what is attractive, what is not. You don't even know what is what careers matter in life. No. You do not know what life should look like till someone teaches you those things. Teachers, parents, friends, relatives, peers, the internet, our culture. And none of this is inherently evil. They are teaching you the wrong ways on purpose because they're evil. No. But I can tell you that every single one of them handed you a pair of their own lenses, of their own glasses. And eventually, after receiving so many glasses, so many tinted glasses, you stop seeing the reality. You start to see reality through their eyes, through those lenses that you have been given. Now I want you to imagine, since you were born, you have been wearing tinted glasses. Would you know that the world has many colors? No, of course not. How could you know when you have been wearing tinted glasses? And that is exactly what belief is to people. Not the truth, but filters. Yet the tragic thing is, almost everyone defends them as if it is truly their reality. And that's because questioning your beliefs feels like you are questioning yourself. And not everyone is ready for that. And the ego of a person despises that. Let's talk about the first prison, belief. Now, belief is not a bad thing. It is not evil. But unquestioned belief is something that becomes invisible to you. I want you to ask someone who has always wanted a big house. Ask them why they want a big house. They're probably going to tell you, because that is what I dream success is for me. They'll tell you it's because that is success. Now I want you to start to question them even deeper. Why does success look like that to them? It becomes hard to answer. Now ask someone who works a job that they hate. Ask them why they work that job. They're gonna say it's because of responsibility, right? It makes sense. That's what you're supposed to do. That is the responsible path to take in life. To go to school, graduate, and get a job, right? But who decided that? Ask them, who decided that was the responsible thing to do? Most people do not choose their lives. They inherit it. like like furniture that has been passed down from generation to generation, never asking whether it even belongs in the house anymore. Now, the most dangerous sentence in English language that I can think of right now is "I can't." When you hear that sentence, when you say yourself, I want you to stop for a second, okay? Stop. Someone has confused repetition with truth. Now, the second prison is expectations. You spend your entire childhood being rewarded to fit in. Raise your hand in class. Do not question the authorities. Do not question what is already set in place. Follow the instructions. Get good grades. Pick a safe career. Become a doctor, maybe. Don't fail. Don't stand out too much. Don't do what is not normally done. Do not go off script. Now, some of those rules exist for practical reasons, but there is always a hidden cost. Here is the hidden cost, okay? You slowly replace your curiosity with compliance. Instead of asking, what do I actually think? You start to ask, what answer gets approved? And if you do that long enough, and eventually, you don't even know your own thoughts anymore. You only know what kind of thoughts are acceptable to have. And you start to become fluent in performing and terrified of existing. Here's the strange part, okay? Nobody forces the adults to keep living this way, especially in this modern time. Yet somehow we still do it by the book, right? Because the prison guard has moved into your head, and every decision is now filtered through invisible questions. What will people think? What if I look stupid? What if I fail? What if they judge me for doing this, for thinking this way, for being like this, for wanting this, for pursuing that? And you call it being realistic. Keeping your ideals realistic, keeping your goals realistic. But it is actually a psychological surveillance that you have placed yourself under. And you become both the prisoner and the guard. The third prison is identity. This is one of the hardest things to escape because people would rather suffer than stop being them. They would rather suffer than become unfamiliar to themselves. Now, I want you to listen carefully, okay? You are not your habits, nor are you your job, nor are you your relationship status. You are not your past, and you are not the worst thing that you have ever done in life. And you are not the labels that other people give to you. But repeat any story long enough, and your brain starts treating it like it's facts. I am lazy. I am bad with money. I am shy. I am unlucky. I am not creative. I am embarrassing. I do not know anything. I am weird. I am awkward. Interesting. Who told you that? Who told you all of those, okay? And more importantly, why the hell did you believe them? Tell me why. Identity is often nothing more than the memory repeated until it feels permanent to one's self. Yet everyone spends decades protecting those identities that keep them miserable. I want you to stop for a second and imagine carrying a backpack full of rocks, but you refuse every day, someone offers to remove one stone from your backpack. But every day you refuse. Okay? It's my backpack, it's my problem, it's my rocks. That is identity. That is what identity means to everyone. People start to confuse familiarity with being authentic. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth about this. Your personality is probably less original than you think. You think about your opinions, your fashion, your political views, your taste in music, your ambitions and goals. How many of those things were independently discovered? And how many of those things were absorbed? Maybe you saw someone who did something and you admired it. Maybe you saw someone who was successful, who had a big house, and you wanted that for yourself too. Humans imitate each other. Okay, that is how we survive. And it's not a bad thing. Okay? If the wheel exists, don't reinvent the wheel, right? But most people, the thing that's most dangerous about this is that imitation becomes dangerous when it becomes something that you do unconsciously. Because now you're just imitating everyone and everything, right or wrong, good or bad for you. And most people do not know that they are not choosing for themselves. They are copying and then call the copy their authentic self. That is why social media, that is why social conditioning is something so powerful and so dangerous. Because it does not command you. It gives you auto-suggestions, okay? It whispers, it repeats to you until the repetition becomes normal. And normal becomes expected. And expected becomes the truth. And then suddenly everyone is questioning, anyone who questions it looks crazy. But the thing is, history has proven over and over and over and over again that the entire societies have believed things that later becomes absurd. Not because people were stupid to believe that, but because they were surrounded by an agreement. Consensual feels like evidence now, but it isn't. Sometimes millions of people can be confidently wrong at the same time. The invisible prison grows stronger because it rewards obedience. Fit in, and you'll receive the approval of the crowd. Question things, and people become uncomfortable and call you crazy. Because uncertainty threatens everyone else's certainty. And people don't always defend the truth, they defend their stability. They want to be safe. They don't care about the truth. They just want to be safe. If your freedom forces others to question their own chains, they'll often try to convince you to put it back on. Don't take it personal. That's how it works. But here's the cruel irony, okay? Most people think that freedom means adding more money, more followers, more status, bigger houses. A psychological freedom usually begins with subtraction. Remove the false beliefs, remove the borrowed identity, remove the unnecessary fear, remove the need to impress people who barely think about you. Freedom isn't always winning and gaining, no. Sometimes it's remembering who you were before everyone else started telling you what to do. So how exactly do you escape this? Let's not be dramatic and go full-on rebellion, no. Not by rejecting every rule either, no. That's just another prison wearing different clothing, okay? That's putting yourself in another kind of prison. Escape begins with one habit, and that is the habit of always questioning everything. Never always question everything. Question those beliefs. Question and question and question and never settle. And I do not mean it cynically, no. But honestly, whenever you think I have to ask yourself, says who? You have to, says who? Whenever you think I could never, says who? Based on what evidence? Who told you that? Whenever you think something, oh, people like me don't. Oh, says who? Who the hell decided these standards? Who the hell made these requirements? Who invented that category? Because most mental cages collapse under one thing: question. The moment that you consciously examine these beliefs, they begin to lose their power. Eventually, you will notice something strange. And that is the fact that real freedom feels slightly uncomfortable because the certainty starts to disappear. You stop outsourcing your thinking, which means you become responsible for your choices. No more blaming society. No more blaming your parents, the school, luck, the algorithm, or your past. Freedom isn't something that is comfortable as much would like it to be. It is accountability, okay? And that is why so many people choose the prison itself, because when you are in a prison, you don't really have to take accountability for the things, for the choices that you made, since it wasn't really your choices. It removes responsibility. That's what really freedom really is. And here's the final prison, okay? The belief that you already escaped. The mind is a clever thing, okay? It is very clever. The moment that you think, I see through it, you build another cage. You must question everything, even the things that you discover. Wisdom isn't believing that you found the truth. It is accepting that you might still be missing pieces. Stay curious. Stay willing to be wrong. Stay willing to update your beliefs. Because the moment that your identity becomes rigid, stops evolving, your prison starts to rebuild itself. And at the end of the day, you won't regret every mistake. You'll regret every decision that wasn't yours. The dreams you inherit instead of chose. The opinions that you borrowed instead of examined. The fears you obeyed instead of challenging. The identity that you protected instead of questioned. The invisible prison never announces itself. It just simply, quietly convinces you that totally right. That the walls are the world. So you ask yourself one final question. If nobody had ever told you who you were, what kind of person would you become? That question might be the first crack, actually, in the walls that you have built, that you have lived inside your entire life.